Ever since I found out about him, probably let's say 2010, I think it was when his name started being in the public when he was at Duke. I never thought Kyrie Irving would be like this. Like you just think some people are just gonna be when they get to the NBA just another regular old basketball player, right? It did seem that way with him. When he was first drafted to the Cleveland Cavaliers. Uh, in the beginning, uh, I can't say I didn't like him from all this hype because I thought he was actually going to be somewhat decent when he got to the NBA from the games that he played at Duke. As we all know, he didn't play a full year at Duke. He was injured. He became the first round, not the first pick in the 2011 NBA draft. And he was expected to be leading that Cleveland team after the departure of LeBron James. And then I would say he didn't really hear too much of him. He was likable, right? To the whole entire public. We didn't hear nothing about him. Just a young kid playing basketball. Very young kid playing basketball. I think he was 19 when he was drafted. And you gotta think, he won a championship at 24, which is still pretty much young. Probably hit one of the biggest shots in NBA Finals history, in NBA history. One of the biggest of all time. And then, I don't know what happened. Something must have happened after he won that championship because we all know he won it out in Cleveland. And he went on ESPN First Take, right? I think when Max Kellerman was still there. And he got on ESPN First Take. I saw the whole interview. And my first impression was he was just somewhat immature. I'm thinking 2017. I'm 27. He's probably 25. So, yeah, he still has some maturity left to go. And then we hear about the stuff about him believing the earth is not flat, which got lots of jokes from everybody. I saw it as him like, wait a minute. I thought we got past this already about the earth being flat. How are we going to take a step back? And then, like I said, at this point, we don't hear too much about him. He's still, much of the world likes him. But then, some of the stuff he says in interviews, he comes off as, people like to say, aloof. Even people say some charming cockiness to him. Well spoken. Doesn't seem like a thug. He don't seem like a thug. Kyrie doesn't never seem to be like a thug type person. I know some people might look at him. He's all tatted up. I think he's pretty much all tatted up, but doesn't mean he's a thug. And then he starts calling people peons, people beneath him. People are beneath him. His time in Boston didn't go too well. You gotta keep in mind, one of Boston's runs to the Eastern Conference Finals, he wasn't even there. I think that was 2017, 2018. I think that could have been. He wasn't there. He comes back the next year. I think it's a 2018, 2019 season. They get eliminated in the second round. And I think he said something controversial during that playoffs. I think that's when he called people peasants or peons. I think he called them peons not too long ago. And then his whole time in Boston is just not good, right? And then the public perception of him starts going down a little bit. And then he ends up going to Brooklyn, teaming up with Kevin Durant. His first year there, somewhat marred by injuries. And then the whole Corona thing happened. And then he didn't play in the bubble. And then he had the things about him not wanting to play after the whole January 6th thing. But he also donates. I can't get out. He donated some money. I think he donated $1 million or more, something like that, to the WNBA. Nobody asked him to, but he did it out of the kindness of his heart. And we get to the 2021-22 season. We get to that season. And this is where that good Kyrie that we know, the Uncle Drew Kyrie, that was it Mountain Dew commercials or Sprite commercials? I forgot which one, I'm sorry. The Uncle Drew Kyrie, the Kyrie that was on Nickelodeon shows, the Kyrie that was on a Jeep Wrangler show with Michael Jackson playing over it. That Kyrie is no longer to be seen to some people. Kyrie at this point is seen as some, you could say, in some people's eyes, a villain to some people, because he refused to take that mixer. That's what I'm going to call it on here. He refused to take that mixer. Which he's right. Oh, and don't forget the whole sage burning. If you don't forget about that, he's burning sage. What's the name of Boston State? I don't want to call it the Fleet Center. It hasn't been called that in years, but these, I think it's not TD Waterhouse. Well, I was gonna call it Fleet Center for right now because I forgot the current name of it. He's spraying, has sage in there, and then also don't forget the whole stomping of the Celtics emblem at the middle of the court. You can't forget about that. I think they got a bottle thrown at him for that. And then we skip to the whole coat. I ain't gonna call it that. Skip to the whole Corona thing and the whole mixer thing, and his refusal to take it, saying he doesn't believe in it, doesn't want to take it because he don't know what's in it, and so he can't play for half of the season. Eventually, he does come back and plays the rest of the season. And then we had the whole thing about him not liking Steve Nash, the rumor of him saying Steve Nash doesn't deserve his 2 MVPs. The point I'm trying to make now we have this situation with this whole linking this film that everybody supposedly has called anti-Semitic. They want him to apologize. He's not going to apologize. He tells them he has not one racist bone in his body, which I truly believe because we haven't seen that part of him. He is getting into it with the reporters about it, basically defending himself. He still hasn't apologized and won't apologize. And now he has been suspended supposedly for 5 games. I think he was supposed to meet with Adam Silver. I guess that didn't happen, or maybe it did happen. To sum this all up, this just has been a whole mess of things for Kyrie Irving and for the Brooklyn Nets. Now, you could say some of the antics he has had with the whole sage burning and the first take interview and calling people this and that. You could say that's a bad look, but I always will stand with him when it comes to refusing to take that mixer. You should have a choice not to without being ridiculed for it, which he has been done. And now this whole thing, I just think, and I think most people think, this whole thing has become ridiculous. You have Malika Andrews bringing a rabbi onto ESPN. A rabbi onto ESPN for what reason? I do not know. I don't get it. Oh shoot, I almost forgot the whole beef with LeBron James. Forgot all about that. But that's not squashed. But the whole rabbi on ESPN, this is ridiculous. I ain't never, ever seen anything like this before. There's a couple of reasons why I think this is going on. First of all, I think it just stems from him. The reason why it's gotten this big and this come blown out of proportion because he refused to take that mixer last year. So they're gonna try to find any way. He stood defiant against them, stood tall. They don't like that he's a well-spoken African American man. I also think he Muslim, supposedly Muslim. They don't like that. No, the ones that be, they don't like that. They don't like well-spoken black people. They like you, some of us to be. They want us to be like that. That's another reason why they're probably coming after him. He's standing tall in his own faith and his own morals, and is not backing down from him. It's like, look, guys, he gave $500,000 to the ASL. $500,000 to the ASL. Already repeatedly stated his case. You want to give him. The whole thing is, you want him to give you guys a half-assed apology. Oh, I think I know what it is. You just want him to beg to his knees. I don't know if this means the end for him in the NBA. I don't know. I don't know if they release him. He goes to the Lakers. But the funny thing is, though, I know why they probably do it. You don't have any any NBA players taking up for him. We probably know why. They ain't trying to get that smoke too. But I also think standing behind him will also work too. All of you guys stand behind him will mean something. Will mean power. But also, if he is to get kicked out of the NBA, there's so many options for him. But I think he was one. Maybe I could be wrong. He was one of the ones that was thinking about starting his own league. Maybe I don't know. Maybe that I just heard that from somewhere. But this whole thing has turned ugly. But I don't know. This right here also makes me not want to watch the NBA anymore because this has gone too far. And ESPN should be ashamed of themselves. But anyways, that's all I got to say about the matter. Tell me what you guys think.